As the nice Zoom lady has said, our recording is in progress. So again, welcome to our Interscholastic Unified Outdoor Bocce pre-competition briefing. It's wild that the spring season has already gotten to this point. It's wilder that the school year is on its, back end. I think we're all excited to get to May and June. I think a lot of your students are excited to get to May and June. So we're here tonight to talk about our state tournament for outdoor bocce that is happening next Tuesday in Chestertown, Maryland. We'll go through a lot of different things tonight. But before we do, I wanted to start off, and I'm going to hand it off to Melissa Kelly here at Special Olympics Maryland. She's going to talk more about Unified Champion Schools and what she offers in our end of the programming in the high schools, middle schools, and even the elementary schools. So, MK, if you want to go ahead, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Zach. And welcome, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces and familiar names, so it's really great to see everyone still being involved. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, and I should have started with congratulations on making it to the big dance. It's pretty excited, and hopefully all of your student athletes are excited as well. So wishing you good luck. Wanted to share with everyone the social media handles that we're asking people to follow and share and like and all that great stuff. And then if you post yourself, please do help us gain momentum around the competitions, of course, by using the hashtag UnifiedMD. So thank you for that slide. Great. And you can go ahead to the next one. My contact information. So I just wanted to go through a few topics so everyone is well aware. These are the most, I guess, timely as we wrap up the school year. So for the 24-25 school year, we're really going to call that, we're focusing our attention on getting students involved, especially at the high school level. You coaches do a fantastic juggling of many tasks, many responsibilities, and it's great that we can always look to you to step in should we need that, but we really want to engage the students. So it's going to be the theme for the whole school year. And then we can actually move on to the next slide. Thanks, Zach. Okay, so we are trying to gain a list, produce a list of all of the unified participants. Ambitious, right? So if you think of an alumni association for higher ed, that's what we're really trying to do. Since the inception, dating back to 2009, we really want to promote this and really build a community togetherness, and one that we can look to each other and announce celebrations, opportunities, and that sort of thing. And we could even have reunions, right? So it all starts with the students that we have currently in school. So please do share this information. I'll have printouts at the tournament as well. Share this information, ask all students, not just seniors, to register. And that would be so great if we could do that and get it going this school year. One thing we are dreaming up for the coming school year as well, we're going to have a t-shirt contest. We commonly have t-shirt sales around the Spread the Word to End the Word promotion that happens in the first week in March, and we do t-shirt sales right before that. So the feedback that we've gained from folks is that it would really be so much better if we did t-shirt sales at the start of the school year, and that way everyone, those who purchase, would be able to have the t-shirt for the duration of the school year for Inclusive Schools Week, Unity Day, Kindness Day, so on and so forth, for things that are happening in your schools in support of Unified Champion Schools. So we're doing the t-shirt design contest. The MPSSA did this a few years ago for their 75th. So those of you who follow the association, it'll look familiar to that. We're going to announce it on social media, and the deadline to submit, we'll have some parameters, of course. The deadline to submit will be June 30th. So there's plenty of time. So we're going to get everything together here in the next 10 days or so and announce it on social media. With that, when the selected design is chosen, the student, this is open for students, the school of the student who wins will receive $500 in t-shirts for their school. So that's pretty cool, right? And then the design will be made available for purchase at cost at the opening of the school year. So more to come with that. So please do look for that as well. Thank you. Okay, wanted to make sure everyone is well aware of our leadership department. We have my friend Abby Knight, who joined our staff about 5 months ago. Abby's awesome. She's an incredible woman. She came to us. She competed in Montgomery County, or still competes in Montgomery County in bocce. And so she's joined our leadership department, and Abby is very eager to hear from you or your students to schedule training sessions at your schools. And so the 3 entry-level sessions are noted there at the top. So intro to athlete leadership, understanding leadership, and volunteer general orientation. And these are, I think, great for this time of year. I think it would gain the attention of your students. For those of you in the classroom, you could invite Abby or another, my colleague Jason Trimble, who's the Vice President of Leadership, and they could present to your class. I think it might be the time of year where everyone's getting a little antsy with the typical curriculum. So please do consider that and get in touch with Abby and schedule a session today. Thank you, Zach. Okay, there's no cost. Thank you, Coach Newman, for that question. No cost whatsoever. Happy to do it. Okay, I wanted to remind everyone, I haven't done such a great job in making sure everyone's well aware of this opportunity. We thank you for making leadership opportunities available through sports. Many of you do that by naming partners and athletes as team captains. And so we would like to recognize and celebrate those who have served as team captains. If you submit using the hyperlink or the QR code, please do that. And then I will mail the certificates directly to you. I can't promise to have them on site on Tuesday, but I will get them to you within a week of that tournament. And hopefully you could submit for prior seasons if you would like to. I'll just do a mass print, and they'll come right to you at whichever mailing address you would like. Thank you, Zach. Okay, and just again, good luck. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my little pitch. When Zach sends out the PowerPoint, you'll see about 5 or so more PowerPoint slides that you can review at your leisure, and then also share those on with whomever you would like. Certainly good references to make sure people in your building are well informed. And again, thank you for the time, and best of luck on Tuesday. Look forward to seeing you all. Thanks, Coach Newman.
Thanks, MK. Thanks for sharing. I also think a big part of this is a lot of you guys and a lot of your kids are already doing a lot of this leadership stuff. So why not take advantage of all the offerings that Melissa Kelly's providing for your students, right? You know, a good example is Tyler, who is our manager of high school unified sports, is a former unified partner for James M. Bennett bocce team. His dad was a coach for a long time too. And so again, take advantage of those programs. Abby, again, like Melissa Kelly said, outstanding young woman, phenomenal Special Olympics athlete as well. But she is really, really making some great strides for unified leadership. So thank you guys so much for taking advantage of those programs. Please do continue to take advantage of them, especially going into the 24 and 25 school year. Anything else you want to share, MK, before we move on?
No, all set.
Cool.
You guys do a lot, and we can never thank you enough, but we will continue to thank you. So with that, enjoy the presentation and the rest of your evening. Take care.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk some bocce. We're going to lead off the top with the basic event info, which most of you probably already have, but we'll hit some details in here to make sure that you have the nuts and bolts for the day, and so that you guys feel good going into next Tuesday. The first thing that I want to mention off the top is with medical stuff. Essentially, the protocol for medical is once you get on site to the tournament, we'll have medical personnel to take care of anything that may pop up, bumps, bruises. Sometimes when it's hot, a little bit of overheating we get sometimes. But prior to getting to the tournament, make sure that you know your district's policy and procedures for medical, situations or providing medical support for your student athletes during your trip. For most schools, it's not too terribly long of a trip, but again, know your protocols for your school district. Additionally, if you have any student athletes that need additional accommodations for medical things, sometimes people need individual changing rooms, feeding rooms, whatever it may be, please reach out to Katie and I ASAP, and we can do our best to help set you up with that. Usually our facility partners are really good about taking care of that kind of stuff, but the sooner we know, the better we can do to support that for you. Location. Location hasn't changed. If you've happened to been to states in past years, we are still at Washington College. It's right in Chestertown, very easy to find. It's off the main road that leads in and out of Chestertown, which I think is technically Route 213 coming up through Centerville if you come that way. So if you don't have the address, take down the address. Again, if you want to Google the address, if your bus driver needs to Google the address, and you put in Washington College, the best thing to do is put in Roy Kirby Stadium, and it'll take you right to where you need to go on campus. If you put in Washington College's basic address at the bottom here, it will take you to the front gate where the stoplight is, and then you got to kind of figure it out from there and follow the Special Olympics signage. The schedule. We try to stick to the same schedule pretty much year after year so that you guys can experience some consistency, have some standard expectations for what we set for a schedule, and we can keep the things on track for most part. The biggest notes that you guys want to take from the schedule is arrive between 9 and 10:15 a.m. The closer to 9 that you can arrive, the better, because team warm-up starts at 9:15 and goes till 10:10-ish. We'll shut it down right before 10:15. Additionally, we will have our coaches meeting at 10:15 on the track right in front of the control center. Same thing as last year. We'll get together. We'll talk about notes for the day. We'll go over whatever we need to go over, reminders, get you guys ready for the rest of the day. 10:30, we'll do our opening ceremonies. Again, welcome all the teams, introduce everybody, national anthem, the usual deal. And then at 11 o'clock, we start competition. If for some reason every school has shown up and we're ahead of schedule and we can start a little bit earlier, we will. The reality of that is usually that doesn't happen because busing is not super easy. So there's usually a transportation hiccup somewhere. But again, if we can get ahead, we will get ahead. You see the note about award ceremonies at 3 p.m. That's the rough guesstimate. Technically, everybody plays at least 2 games. If you do lose 2 games, you are out of the tournament and you'll be awarded. You can stay or you can go home, whichever you please. But 3 o'clock is the bulk of the awards typically.
So Zach, I wanted to jump in real
yes.
quick. So going back for signups for warm-up times. So they're going to start at 9:15. So when you check in with whomever is at the command center, you are going to sign up for a time there. Don't try to hunt me down to sign up for a time. We'll have a sheet there. They are going to be 15-minute increments. Please be mindful of the times that you've signed up for, and we will get you out there on the different courts. Sorry, I'm thinking tennis. But please adhere to your time and then be courteous of those who are after you. Larger teams, you will have to probably share a court as other teams start to get onto the field.
Yeah, that's a great point. Again, we will have 10 competition courts set up. If things permit, where we have enough volunteers to help us set up in the morning, we may get 12 set up just for some extra practice courts, but we'll guarantee 10. But again, remember, there's 40 teams that come to states. So you can do the math. We try to get enough warm-up time for everybody to get on for at least 15 minutes. Rain date is May 8th. It is Wednesday. If we can't go Tuesday, we go Wednesday. We will come back around to the weather later. The weather's looking a little iffy, a little tricky. But we'll come back around. But just know, if we have a rain date and we have to use it, it is May 8th. So let's talk weather. I have been monitoring the weather pretty much every 2 hours. I've been looking at my phone, stressing about it. It's not terrible. It's also not great. I'm going to be 100% honest. Right now, Sunday evening through Friday on our weather app, which is the same one that's used by UMD, Towson, all the universities for their varsity college sports, is looking a little messy. Right now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the percent chance for rain is pretty high. So we're probably going to get rain up to a quarter inch, which isn't terrible. It's going to be probably, patches of rain, some light mist here or there. The concern that I have is essentially Monday through Friday on the weather report, it has thunderstorms listed. If any of you have been over on the shore, especially our folks that live on the shore, can probably vouch for this. The shore's a little bit of a different animal when it comes to weather. Those storms can pop up in 2 seconds and be gone in 2 seconds. They could sit there all day. Who knows? So the main thing that I want you guys to take away from this is we are watching the weather very carefully. I will continue to watch it over the course of the weekend. By Monday at noon, you will either get an email from us saying, we are good to go Tuesday as planned, no changes, show up, do what we need to do. Or you will get an email from us that says, hey, the weather looks really bad Tuesday, we need to go Wednesday. Or there's one other possible option that if the weather looks bad both days, we may have to flip a coin and say, the weather looks less bad this day, we're going to go. The main reason I say that is because this year, as opposed to other years where we have a little bit more flexibility, we have to have the tournament either Tuesday or Wednesday of next week because May 10th, Washington College tears down the whole field and the whole track at Kirby Stadium. And while I like to think I'm pretty good at this, I don't have the confidence that in a day or two I could turn around and find you guys a new facility, change busing, and all sorts of stuff on your end. So, just so you guys know, we're going to be monitoring the weather. We will likely go Tuesday or Wednesday. Even if we decide to go Tuesday or Wednesday, we get there, get through 2 rounds of bocce, and have to call it because of thunder and lightning and stuff. We will make sure your students are awarded appropriately based off of whatever finishes we have. Before I keep rambling on about weather and it being kind of nasty and ugly, does anybody have specific questions about that you can either put in chat or unmute and ask while the lights go out in the office here? You have questions about the weather as we progress along through this weekend and into early Monday-ish, feel free to reach out via email. You guys all have our email. You guys will also have my cell phone number by the end of this webinar. Feel free to reach out. If your question Saturday evening, Sunday afternoon is, hey, Zach, ex-coach checking in here, are we going? I might not have a real answer for you. I'm really going to wait till Monday morning to make our best guess at things. I will reach out to district reps, see how they feel about it as well, get some feedback, talk to Katie, talk to some of our staff on site here. Monday morning before noon is when you're going to get that info. So if you do have questions, reach out. I may just not have an instant answer for you, knowing that Monday is our target date to make a decision. So on to, here comes a question. If it starts raining during the day, will be a specific amount of time after it starts that they call the end to the day. Realistically, we'll play in the rain if it's not too heavy. We did it at the start of last year or the year before, and it wasn't too bad. If it becomes a torrential downpour or we have a lightning strike, yes, we'll get to the safety location for lightning strikes if we get storms, Coach Brown. But going back to the first question, if we get lightning strikes or torrential rain, we have to wait for at least 30 minutes after the last lightning strike in the area to proceed. And same thing for downpour rain. Downpour rain, if it's just rain, we can kind of make a safer call a little bit quicker. But lightning, we have to wait for 30 minutes. It's not just our policy. It's also the college's policy about weather delays. So with that said, if we go into a weather delay, we'll wait till the last lightning strike. If we get a half hour in, I'll start asking you guys as coaches, what do you think? Do you think we wait it out? Do we? I'll get feedback from you guys, but usually it's within an hour or so that we'll make a call for going forward or not. Coach Brown, I will get back to your question about where we shelter should there be storm weather, because that is in a later slide. Good questions, though. So when you arrive via bus, you will enter where the green line starts on the main road, which is 213 coming into the college. You wrap around in front of the building and drop off in front of the building. Your bus drivers will then loop back around. They follow around the baseball park, and there's going to be signage the whole way that will direct them to this lot in the back, and that's where buses need to park. That is where we've been approved by campus security to park buses. Additionally, when you arrive, we will have somebody out front that greets you, gives you a rundown of what you need to do when you get off the bus, and then also communicate and direct your bus drivers where they need to go to get to that lot. George, do you want to chime in there?
No, I think you described it perfectly, Zach. I'll try and get
Cool.
on every bus. If there's 2 or 3 buses in that area, please just be patient. I'll get to you as quick as I can.
Absolutely. And to also help George, as soon as your students get off the bus, tell them to get into the stands, find a place where they're going to sit for the day, and as a coach, check in so we can keep the buses moving, especially if multiple show up at the same time.
Yeah, and Zach, one more comment. There
Yep.
is room for 2 buses. There's 2 lanes, so please be careful. You could be
Yep.
crossing a lane that a bus is coming into.
Absolutely. Thank you, George. Just a heads up as well, in that front section by the facility, there's a bisected parking lot. The red section closer to the stadium, we're doing 0 parking because that's where George has all the buses coming in and getting all your students off. No parking there allows buses to come and go. It allows us to maximize the stream of buses there and keeps everybody safe from other cars coming in there. Usually we have campus police that helps us, or we have Kent County police that typically helps us there as well. The green section, essentially anywhere besides the front closest to the stadium. If you have an AD or an assistant coach that comes and drives alone, or whomever comes with you, they're free to park in any of that parking lot on the opposite side. I will make one note, though. There has been an update to the right closest corner here to North College Ave. There are signs that say do not park there. There are specifically spots for Washington College vehicles and like electric vehicles and stuff. Do not park there. Otherwise, campus security will come around and tell us that we need to move your car. And then we got to find the person who has to move the car. So if you're parking near the field, you're allowed to do so. There's plenty of parking. Just be heads up when you pull in. Look if there's a sign in the spot that you're pulling into. And if it says don't park there, don't park there. Absolutely. Parents can park there. I will say that that fills up sooner rather than later. If that part of the parking lot does fill up, if you follow North College Ave down to where the little Google logo is here, underneath the stadium here is additional parking. It's not a far walk at all, and there's way more parking down there. So good question. Sure. Michelle, that is a good point. If somebody has somebody that needs a handicap spot, there are handicap spots that are already designated up by the top of the stadium. We will cone off and mark a couple extras. So if somebody needs a handicap spot, we can use those. You can send us a name and we can try to do our best to reserve it for that individual person. But again, we can't guarantee that. We don't have enough staff or parking staff to guarantee that. But there is handicap designated parking up by where the stadium is, where the buses are dropping off, just not on the bus drop-off side. All right, we're about to move into competition. Anybody have any questions on the general event stuff we just covered? Fantastic. Everybody's doing a great job. Thank you for throwing questions into the chat. They're very easy to take as we go along here. So let's talk competition. Credentials. For Bocce, we will make sure that coaches, paraprofessionals, team managers have credentials. They will be the ones getting credentials. We do not credential your student athletes. Your competitors will just go with you onto the field. Anyone that does not have a credential, that is a parent or an AD that decided to come out and just spectate, we would like them not on field level. Please keep them in the stands. It just helps keep the competition area clean and open. It just makes things easier for us overall, makes things easier for you and your teams to operate and do what you need to do. With that said, we are closing registration outside of us reaching out directly to you. I know we have a tournament that just finished today, so we do need to reach out to them to see about which coaches we need to have registered for them. But you will get an email from Katie or I in the next 24 hours saying, hey, here's the list of coaches that we have for you. Can you confirm that that's the right list of coaches? If not, let us know who we're missing so we can get them credentialed. Anything you want to add to that, Katie?
I was going to say, as of this moment, I believe it's just Cecil County and then the lower shore that I need to reach out to, but everybody else has been reached out to.
Fantastic. Again, if you have anything, if you have any questions, let us know about credentialing. Also a reminder, if you have somebody that doesn't need to be fully credentialed, so concept would be a paraprofessional that just sits in the stands should their one-on-one need them, right? Your athlete need them. You don't need to get them Class A cleared if they're going to be in the stands. As far as we're concerned, they're a spectator. If you have extra participants from your team, if you had two teams and one did not advance to state and you're bringing the other to spectate, they're just spectators. They don't go on the field. They don't get credentials. They just sit in the stands and root on their teammates. Those are two examples of that. Coach Brown, we'll touch base with you on your team manager, and we'll get that up to date and set up for you, for sure. Good question. Additionally, the event guide is 99.9% done. I was working on it mostly today. We will send that out to you in a digital form ahead of time, and you will have a physical form when you get on site in your packet. Remember to peek through the event guide when you get a chance. It has some additional details on stuff. A lot of it we talk about tonight, but there's some additional details in there. Just again, about policies of how we operate, so on and so forth. Competition structure. Just a reminder, we run a little bit different than your districts because you probably run a shorter match length to get everybody through and get everybody their matches. We run a 30-minute match or to 16 points. So probably about 5 minutes longer than you probably ran at your districts. If the time expires and you have a frame that's currently in progress, you'll complete that frame before we end that round. If you're tied at the end of regulation, finishing that frame, a playoff frame will be played to determine a winner because we need to know who's going to advance for this tournament. Usually 99.9% of the time we have brackets set up and we do bracket play. Even in a round robin scenario, we really need wins and losses to make it the cleanest decision for us calculating out results at the end of the day. So again, if you're tied at the end of a frame, do a playoff frame. If you're tied at the end of the playoff frame, do a playoff frame. And we will do as many multi tiebreakers as we need to. I think I've experienced maybe 2 or 3 of those in a decade. So fingers crossed we don't have any crazy multi tiebreaker scenarios. Just so you know, division structure, we're finalizing divisions. Again, we just had a tournament finish probably about 2-3 o'clock this afternoon. So we're still working on the brackets and divisions. We promise that we will have those to you no later than Saturday at noon. So again, you guys will get to see the divisions before they, when they're set and they're done. And you'll see them before you get to the tournament so you're not surprised by anything. Additionally, with that, a reminder, every team plays a minimum of 2 games, whether it's round robin format or a bracket format. Everybody plays at least 2 games. Typically, we always shoot for 8-team divisions because 5 divisions of 8 teams. 8 teams gives us the best scenario, gives the best rundown for the day, gives you guys the best experience. Additionally, as a reminder, we also work to do our best to make sure if you have multiple teams from the same school, like there's 3 Crofton teams or whatever, we do our best to make sure that the Crofton teams aren't playing each other in the same division, in the same bracket. If you have a larger school system, there's a chance that you play another school from your district in the same bracket if you have similar qualifying scores. Again, we do our best to mix and match the brackets, so you're going to states and playing people that you haven't from different parts of the state, but occasionally you will come in a matchup against a team from your district. Best case scenario is you run into them in the first and second place game, and it's a really great game for the top of your district. Katie, anything to add on either match structure or division structure?
Nope. But like Zach said, I am going to feverishly try to get this done for you. It is literally a jigsaw puzzle trying to figure out all of this. So I just ask for your patience in getting this out to you.
Awesome. The venue map. Just so you guys know what you're looking at, this will be in all your packets as well. Once you get there, you get pretty well attuned to what the facility is. And those that are returning, for the most part, we haven't changed anything about our facility map. The one main thing that I like to point out just for you guys as coaches, so you know the right places to check in at what time, when you guys arrive off the bus, fresh to start the day, we want your head coach checking in at the green square in the middle on the track. That's our control center. That's where you'll pick up your team packet. You'll report if anybody's scratched for the day. You'll report anything that came up, morning of, report that at the green square. When match to match, you are checking in your team for their next match, you report to the yellow square, not the green one. The yellow one is competition staging. They're the ones who are going to get your team set up to go out on the courts. Katie will be in the green tent. I know a lot of people are used to seeing Katie when they check in for their matches. We're going to do our best to leave Katie alone unless we absolutely need her, because then she can do her best to work through the incoming scores, turn over the brackets, get the brackets updated, get results out so that we can stage you on time and stay on schedule. So again, remember, to start the day, the green square control center tent. The rest of the time when you're checking in your team, yellow square control center tent, or control staging. I messed it up already.
I was going to say, I love you all dearly, but please, like Zach said, stick to the yellow and the other section of green. Leave me be until I'm absolutely done with that round of brackets. It just makes it go much, much smoother.
Yeah. And if you do have questions about, look, we get it. We get to that point later in the day. You're not sure if you're the next match up. You don't know if you're 2 matches away. How does it go from here? Check in at the control staging tent, the yellow square, and say, hey, I'm just curious. I know you guys are working hard to get all the brackets and matches set up. Do you know if we're the next match, so I have to have my kids ready to go instantly, or do we have a little break? And they'll do their best to get you the answer. And if they need an answer from Katie, they'll go to Katie and get that for you guys. Just a reminder as well for other major points on the map, the orange rectangle where you will walk through once you get off your buses, that's where all the restrooms can be found. Again, they're pretty big, nice restrooms. And you can also find merchandise down there. We will have our Unified Generation gear. I think we'll have some leftover stuff from other past events like yard sale, cheap shirts and stuff like that. I know some of the students love that. And just a reminder, you can tell your students we accept cash, credit cards, or Venmo if people are looking to buy stuff. Additionally, the blue rectangle down at the bottom is our big award/lunch tent. When lunch is ready, we will make an announcement through the PA in the stadium to go there and pick up your lunches and bring them back to your team. And then additionally, when you're done at the end of the day and get awarded, that's where you'll report to. The court map. We have done this dance of how we line up the courts. I've now done unified sports for 4 or 5 years. I think we've changed it every year except for this year. We've tried to find the sweet spot. This seems like the best layout that we've found. It gives the spectators in the stands the most bocce. I don't know if I can fulfill that request by the Broadneck coach's husband. Don't have anything cute for her to buy. I will get rid of all the cute stuff. But anyway, this gives the spectators the best view for bocce and actually seeing bocce being played. If the courts are perpendicular to the stands instead of parallel, you kind of just see people's backs for one frame, and then you kind of see them all the way on the other side of the court for the next frame. So this is what we've gone with. All of our courts will have a A-frame sign that says what the court is, and it'll have an A-frame for the scoring situation facing towards the stands / kind of caddy corner, so you can see it as well too. All of our boards will be double-sided, and we will have our officials and the folks helping our officials do their best to keep the score updated on the boards as the match goes along. Staging for matches. First of all, we will make an announcement when we're staging X round of matches, and if we are just finished updating rounds of matches and we need to find teams, we'll make PA announcements, so please listen up. The first round of matches are already, well, once the schedule's done, will already be predetermined. So you can look at the schedule and definitely know what your first round of matches is. When you know when your match is, please show up 5 minutes before your match if possible, if you're not already playing. Be down at staging, check in at staging. We'll get you guys set up with our volunteers that are helping at staging. Again, we want you to check in with the staging tent. Dawn Furlow is our main volunteer there. She's trained. We also have folks from her work at Delmarva Power. We've trained all of them as well to help at staging. They'll be ready to support your student athletes. Again, there is a sequence to matches, but as we get later in the day, we totally recognize that, you know, matches and match schedule gets a little chaotic. As long as we give Katie as much time as we can and are not bothering her with other stuff, she'll turn it around. We'll get it to you as fast as we can. If you have a chance to plan meals, restroom breaks, and stuff in between matches, do so. If for some reason you need to stage your team for a match and you have an athlete that really needs to use the bathroom, send that athlete to the bathroom. Just tell them to make it as quick as possible and then let them know at staging. We'll accommodate you guys as best as we can. Things happen. We get it. Katie, anything on the front end of staging here you want to add?
Nope. Everything's good for me.
Cool. Again, one thing that we like to remind you guys that there is not an unlimited window to waiting to start matches. We will not call and call and call and call for teams to report. Essentially, we will make a first call. We'll get everyone together. If we're missing people, we will make a second call. And then we will put people on courts. And if teams fail to show up, we will start the clock when we're supposed to start that round of matches. If a team fails to show up within the first 2 minutes of their game, they will forfeit that match. If they do arrive within the first 2 minutes of the game, the match will continue and we'll take whatever the time is that they missed and add it to the end of the game. So if they show up a minute and a half into that 2-minute window, we will add a minute and a half on the back end of the game to your court. Again, we will take that on a case-by-case basis. You guys have done a really, really good job in the past at district level tournaments and at the state level tournament of reporting, getting on your court, and being ready to play. Additionally, if somebody does fail to show up for a match as a team, when they do forfeit the match, the result is an 8-0 match. Question, what if the full time isn't there? Brianna, can you elaborate on that? Oh, what if the full team isn't there? If it's a scenario where they have enough people to start the game, but somebody had an emergency potty situation they needed to do, we'll start the game, and when they come out from the bathroom, we'll roll on. But the expectation is that when you check in at staging or you get to your court, your full team should be there. Again, we're not gonna, withhold bathroom situations. We will not withhold somebody needing to go see the medical team. We will not withhold somebody needing to do something for their safety or well-being for the match to start. But the expectation is that when you report for staging, when you go to your court, your full team should be there. That is your responsibility as your team, and it's a commitment to giving your opposing team a good experience as well. Good question. Again, this is just essentially saying that Katie's going to be working on results. If you have questions about results and what match you're playing next, please ask Dawn Furlow at the staging table or one of her teammates at the staging table. They'll work to get you an answer. If they don't have it, they'll check in with Katie. They may even get the answer from Katie of, Dawn, I don't know, go sit down. That may just be the reality of it. We will turn them around as quickly as we can. Katie does a phenomenal job at updating the brackets, and we'll let you know as soon as possible. Additionally, when I send out this slide tomorrow, you should go to the website that is linked here on our Bocce resource page. It's not fully updated yet, but once the schedule is ready, we will update it on there. We will update it not only by division of the overall divisions and the court schedules, but court by court as well. So you can print out extra court schedules, plan your day, do all that stuff over the weekend once it's all updated, again, by Saturday at noon at the latest. Competition accommodations. This is where I need you guys to do me a favor. And if you have athletes that need competition accommodations, I need you guys to send me an email ASAP. We are going to close the cutoff line for accommodation requests for athletes that need it by Sunday night. Let's say 10 p.m. Sunday night. Again, when I email you guys tomorrow, I'll remind you about this in the email. Competition accommodations are, I have a visually impaired athlete that participates for X school. We use a noise beeper that we put behind the Polina. Or I have a visually impaired athlete that I need the official to stand behind the Polina and say, the ball is here. We've had a accommodation in the past of, I have an athlete that will pick up a bocce ball and stand at the foul line. And if I don't say deliver the ball, they'll stand there for the whole 30 minutes of the game. So those are the accommodations that we're looking for. If you have an athlete that, again, needs to be told, deliver the ball, or they'll stand there the whole time, it's better that you email us, ask for an accommodation, and let us know, so that when the game happens and you need to do that to cue your athlete, our officials know, we can communicate with you and the opposing coach so you both are on the same page. Otherwise, they're going to think that's coaching, and then we're going to have a problem. Again, email us with accommodations. And my recommendation is, if you're asking yourself right now, is this situation with this athlete an accommodation I should ask for? Should I email Zach? You should probably just do it. I'd rather you email me and me say to you, that's not an issue, we're good to go, than you not email me and then morning of it's a problem. So again, accommodation requests for athletes for competition, whatever it may be, if you need to run it by us, please email me by Sunday evening. Once we hit Monday, accommodation requests are over, okay? Anybody have a question about accommodation requests, or even a specific odd case that you're not sure of and you do want to ask now? Beautiful. Okay. Coaches, remind you guys to communicate. I think one of the biggest things that we've seen over the year is that you have an athlete that struggles to do X, Y, or Z. You got to tell them 10,000 times before they finally listen to step in the court and pick up a bocce ball and deliver it. You know what? If you have that problem, even with us knowing the accommodations and sharing that with our officials and stuff, before a match, you know what? Go see the opposing coach. Go see the official and just say, hey, just so you know, I have this athlete where if I don't walk them into the court every time they need to be walked in, they're going to run off the court and try to run all the way back to Anne Arundel County. Communicate that with other coaches. Most of the time, we run into issues if somebody has a question or a concern about a rule being violated or coaching or that kind of stuff. It's because we're not doing a good job communicating. So again, communicate with Katie and I, communicate with your fellow coaches, opposing coaches, and officials, and just ask questions. If you see something on a court that doesn't seem right, go to the official. Ask the official, hey, I have a question. Based off of my perception of this rule or how this works, I thought this is how it goes. The answer may be, oh no, how it actually works is this. If you want to see the rules, I can show you in the book here. Or the answer might be, you know what? I made a mistake. We'll fix that moving forward, right? Again, communicate. The better you guys are at communicating on the courts, communicating with us, communicating with opposing coaches and officials, the better the day is going to be for everyone. Again, some examples in here. Again, if you have a unique rotation that looks funny compared to what somebody may think is a typical rotation, communicate with that coach before you go onto the court and just say, hey, this is how we do our rotation, just so you know. Great, good to go. The next slide, we run into protests and stuff a lot of the times because we don't do a good job communicating. Sometimes it's me not doing a good job communicating. Just a reminder that you can file a protest within 15 minutes of completing a match if you have something that you want to protest, which we'll talk about some protestable kind of concepts after this. What protests are is that you are using something to protect your athletes from a rule violation or something that was not done correctly during a game or at the competition overall. One thing that I will say is over all the years, I tend to see protests come in towards the end of the day when placing is on the line and people care a little bit more about what their placing is. I want you guys to care about protecting your athletes from the first game that you step on that field for to the last game. There's something wrong in the first game, say something. Talk to the official. If you have a protest to file in that first game because there was something wrong, file that protest. If it's just at the end of the day and now people care because there's placing on the line, don't wait until the last minute. Support your student athletes and protect them across the course of the day. Should a protest be filed, please come to the control center and file the protest there. Just say, hey, I have a protest I would like to file. I would like to file out that form. When you fill out the form, the rules committee will convene our two head officials, Katie, if she's available and not busy, and I will lead that group. They'll talk about it. They'll talk to the official on the court. They'll get feedback, and it'll be approved or denied. If it's denied, you can also appeal it, and then within 24 hours to 48 hours, we will have another committee of folks that are district reps and other members of the games management team weigh in on that, and it could be appealed. So one other note that I want to remind you of, as I try to get the lights to turn back on in the office, if you are going to file a protest, when your match finishes, the official will ask you to sign the scorecard. If you have a protest to file, or even if you just have a question about how the match happened or completed, even if you're potentially not going to file a protest, but you have a question, do not sign the match form. Tell the official, hey, I need to check in at the control center. I either have a protest to file, or I have a question before I sign the match, making it complete. The second you sign the match card, the match is complete. The results are as they stand. So just a reminder. Additionally, here are some things to talk about when it comes to protestable situations. One thing that is definitely not protestable is an official's judgment call, right? We measure bocce balls for a reason. They're pretty good at measuring. If an official looks at the bocce balls and says X number of points, that's their judgment call. If you want to say, hey, can I take a look and ask a question about it? You're more than welcome to politely do that and ask the official. But if they do it and they've measured, or you ask for a measurement and then they measure and their call stands, the call stands. That's not something that's protestable. If the ball was being delivered and the official happened to look away for a split second or didn't see from their vantage point that the participant stepped over the line and delivered the ball and it was a foul, and they don't call it a foul, that's not something that's protestable. The official said, I didn't see them step on the line as I was watching. That's not protestable. But I know people like actual protestable scenarios so they know what it is, because I'm very good at telling you what's not protestable. So I did think about this today, and I did survey some of our other bocce sports staff to see what they thought were protestable situations. In a situation that a participant illegally delivers a bocce ball and the official addresses it, says they delivered it above the waist, stepped over the line, whatever it was, if they do that and they don't, there's no change in how they deliver the ball and they keep violating the foul or delivering it above the waist, even if the official punishes them with the violations that they should, a warning, removing a bocce ball, intercepting a foul ball and removing it from play, if that continues to happen and the official continues to punish them, but it negatively impacts the game for your student athletes or your team, or even their team, that's protestable. There's a certain point where now it's just delay of game, disrupting the game, and hurting the game itself. That's something that's protestable. Another situation that somebody on staff said they've had happen. If a player picks up and delivers the wrong ball and the official doesn't intercept it in time and it impacts the outcome of that frame and they can't resolve the state of the court to what it was prior to the ball hitting other balls, that could be protestable. Additionally, in these situations, you don't have to wait until the end of the match to come over and say you would like to protest something, especially if it's halfway through and this is continuing. George, our head official, will walk over. I'll walk over if I have the time. And if we see it happening and you protest it, it's probably going to go through, to be honest. Those are some situations that are protestable. One additional thing that's not protestable, and if you look at the Article 1 rules from Special Olympics International, is the divisioning. You can't protest divisioning. If something seems wrong with the divisioning and you bring it up to us, and you know what? We did goof up something with the divisioning. We'll do our best to fix that. And I hope you guys know Katie and I well enough over the years at this point that we'll do our best to fix that. This is just a slide that says, speak up early. If you see something wrong, say something to the official. Have the game stop. Have George, the head official, come over to check things out. Have me come over to check things out if the head official needs some assistance. Speak up, be polite, just mention things, and we'll resolve them sooner rather than later. Bocce is a sport that the sooner that you resolve something during a game, the better the outcome is for everybody. I'm going to pause here because the protest section and this section is usually one of the more confusing sections. Questions? Fantastic. For the first time in my life, I explained protest perfectly. Nobody had any questions and we'll never have questions. I'm kidding. Again, if you have questions, if it comes up Saturday, if it comes up Sunday, send me a text, shoot me an email. I may not get to it till Monday. We'll get your question answered though, for sure. So we'll keep going. Some rules reminders. We are not going over every rule under the sun. You guys have read the rule book. You guys have been coaching throughout the year. You know the rules. Just some reminders as we go into competition. The biggest stuff is the coaching rules. So I will remind you guys here, and I will remind you on site with a bit more of a visual demonstration of the coaches' rules. The biggest rule to note for coaching is that when an athlete or a unified partner steps into the court and picks up a bocce ball, no one's talking to them. At that point, that you should tell your team, tell your assistant coaches, that's where the line gets drawn. The second somebody picks it up, let them do their thing. You've been training them all year long. Let them do their thing and have their moment. That is probably where we see most of the coaching violations is somebody picks up a bocce ball, they're in there, somebody says something, even if it's just like bend down and tie your shoe, it's technically coaching. But again, once somebody picks up that bocce ball, steps in that court, communication's over. Additionally, coaches have to stay behind the coaches' box lines. We'll show you a little image of them before we're done here tonight, and I'll show you on site. But at any point, your participants can step back to where you are behind the coaches' line, and you guys can have a conversation about the state of the board, what you want them to communicate to the rest of your team, strategy, whatever it may be. They need to step back to where you are behind the coach's box line to have that conversation. Additionally, if you do not have a unified partner or an athlete in the box with a bocce ball, they can talk to each other freely as much as they want outside of the court. Hey guys, whoever's next, see how the balls are laid out? We need to attack it from this angle. That's perfectly fine. The second somebody picks up a bocce ball though and steps in, that's over. So, if at any point the conversing between your athletes or between you and your unified partners and athletes gets a little bit long or feels delay of game-like, our officials are going to step in and say something. They want to keep the pace of the game strong, and they want to give your student athletes and the opposing student athletes as many chances, as many frames as possible to make the game a good game. So, if an official believes delay of game is happening, the first thing they will do is issue a warning. They'll say, hey guys, too much talking. We're hitting delay of game territory. We need you to step in and deliver a bocce ball. If they happen to say it again, and they have given you that warning already, they'll remove one bocce ball from your bocce balls that are left to be played. If you are on your last bocce ball, they have the right to remove a bocce ball from the next frame as a penalty. If the violator of the delay of game is continuously doing the same thing over and over and over throughout the game, they'll be asked to leave after the third time of being hit with a delay of game penalty. It's unsportsmanlike and there's strategy to the game, but then there's just not playing the game as well. I've also gotten the question, I got it at indoor bocce, and I've gotten it over the years as we've talked about delay of game. What's the time window for delay of game? Usually it's somewhere in that 45 seconds to a minute kind of window. That's where the delay starts to get excessive. If it's 25, 30 seconds, 35 seconds, usually most officials get it. They want you to be strategic. They want you guys to work together. They want your teammates to work together, but they also want to play the game. So that's the main thing on the delay of game. Do I have any questions on delay of game? George, is there anything that you, from your experience, want to add on delay of game?
No, Zach, I think this is perfect.
Beautiful.
You've quantified it as much as you really can. I mean, all the situations are different. You quantified it pretty well.
Thank you. Absolutely. Again, I've said this to you guys and people all over the state multiple times. We're not in the business of being bocce police. We want you guys to have a good experience. We don't want to become bocce police. Again, play the game appropriately. Play this game in good spirits, right? The coaching violation rules. If there is a first offense issued for coaching, the official or George or myself or whomever will issue a warning and give you an explanation of the coaching violation. If it happens again, one ball will be removed from that frame or the upcoming frame if you have already delivered all your balls and coaching occurs. The third offense is the offender, typically a coach or an assistant coach. Sometimes it's an athlete or a unified partner too. Third offense for the same person, they'll be removed from the match. Any following offense after that third offense will take a credential or have a student athlete sit down because they continuously are violating the coaching rules. Going back to protesting, coaching is something that you can protest. It's a little bit more of a he said, she said type of protest. In the past, we've leaned more towards, okay, we probably believe it. But again, if somebody gets a offense for coaching via a protest, doesn't necessarily change what your placing is if it's at the end of the day. It might be their first or second offense, and the offenses are as follows. Additionally, we just want you guys to continue to communicate, like I said in the beginning. If there's an athlete that you need to tell, hey, get in the court, deliver a ball. No, it's good response, Coach Jen. The question, I'm gonna read it because it's a very good question. For the second offense, would you remove the closest ball? No, it's not a ball in play. It's a ball that hasn't been played yet. Because we don't want to disrupt where the court state is. We want to potentially penalize them from enhancing or declining the board state in the next couple balls. Good question, though. Again, I will show you guys during the coaches meeting, the coaches box, how it all works. We'll go over this again, but I want you guys to know this stuff up front, and we're going to be serious about it, and we want to take this seriously. Again, communicate with one another. If an athlete needs help, if there's an issue with your team, communicate. Here's my little coaches box picture.
Zach.
Yes.
Hold on, Zach. So we got to come back to the chat. So a coach, I think he's jumping. A coach, stop jumping. A coach was saying, so who's would not be able to roll if a ball was removed? And
good question.
Like, would it be a partner or an athlete? So, and Chelsea, don't worry, I got you.
Yeah, no. So that's a good question. If you haven't rolled the ball yet, there's 4 balls left. You're hit with a coaching violation, or somebody's hit with a voting coach's violation, and a ball is removed. A ball is removed. We do not choose who loses the ball. Essentially, it is now 3 balls that your team gets delivered. Your athletes and unified partners can then converse about who that is, again, under the appropriate coaching rules. A partner could step back, an athlete could step back and ask you as a coach under the appropriate coaching rules. If you do everything right at that point, it's not an issue. But your team determines who throws those 3 balls when you've lost that 4th one. Does that answer your question? Maybe. I'm going to say that answers the question for now. And if you have additional follow-up questions to that, before I go on to the coaches box, again, any additional questions on the coaching aspect? Okay. Coaches box, we've made a small modification just on ease of access for you guys. And I'm going to be honest, the ease of my back painting lines as I'm getting older here. The way we've done it now is behind the play area, probably about, I don't know, I'd say 3, 4, 5 feet. We will draw a line straight behind the courts. We will then have these other lines that bracket around the court, which gives you your coach's box. As a coach, you can be anywhere behind this straight line that goes behind the court, or you can step off to the outside of the coach's box here. You can step up to the side if you need to. You can step up to the side here if you need to. Again, more times than not, I think if people get in trouble for coaching, it's because they step around to this side. And regardless of coaching or not, the perception once you get to the side is that you are supporting and helping your potential athlete in a way that helps. But we do recognize that there are times that you need to walk around to the side here and get a better angle on things. Or that you need to walk up there after an athlete threw a ball because they did something wrong so that you could fix it for the next frame or the next match. We get it. This is a lot easier to see, and I guarantee it'll be a lot easier for you guys to understand. When we're on site, we will show you the coach's box lines. There's one thing I need to mention with this. If we are going to get straight rain Sunday through Friday of next week, we are going to paint the lines as we typically do for the courts. With that said, there's a chance that even if we paint them Monday during setup and then Tuesday right before you all get there, the lines might be really, really light. There might not be lines at all, and we might have to rely on cones. Those are the type of things that we will let you know in the coaches meeting. Be flexible with us. We will do our best to set up the court in the expected state coming out of this webinar that you guys have. Additionally, while I'm on this slide, I'm going to rule jump a little bit just because we have a good visual here. I've had a question come up multiple times across indoor and outdoor bocce about ramp usage. For ramps, the front end of the ramp where the ball leaves a ramp needs to be behind the foul line. It can either be the 10-foot line if that's what you are used to with your athletes, or we will have this dotted line here, which is the 20-foot extended foul line for anybody with a wheelchair or using a ramp. It is up to you which one you use, but you have both available for those that are ramp users or in a wheelchair. I do know most districts, maybe one or two, don't paint this dotted line. This is the standard setup for all bocce at the state level, and if you had teams that ever went to nationals or world games for Special Olympics, you would see this court set up. So again, if you have a ramp, where the ramp ends, where the ball comes off the ramp, has to be behind either the dotted 20-foot line or the 10-foot foul line. Anywhere between those is fine as well. You can put it halfway between those if you like as well, but the ramp has to end there. I also had an odd question that came up about ramps, which I wanted to clarify as well. The rule for delivering the bocce ball is that you need 1 foot inside the box at all times. Can you have 1 foot of the ramp in the bocce court at all times? The answer is yes. The main thing is that your participant still needs to have 1 foot or 1 wheelchair wheel in the court. The bocce ramp has to be in the court with at least 1 bocce ramp foot, and wherever you set the ball on top of the ramp or wherever your athlete is going to release the ball down the ramp also needs to be within the court. I am going to bring a bocce ramp from our headquarters to show this the morning of at the coaches meeting as well. Any questions about the extended ramp line at 20 feet and where the end of a ramp needs to be for play? Fantastic. Setting the Polina, just a reminder, the top part is the team who wins possession, either with the coin flip or from the last frame, has 3 attempts to roll or toss the Polina past the mid-court line and it has to stop before the other foul line. If they can't do that in 3 attempts, then the other team gets a chance to set the Polina. If the other team cannot set the Polina, the official will step in, take the Polina, and settle it in between the midcourt line and the foul line right in the middle of the court. So if we go back one slide, it'll be pretty much right in the middle of that 20-foot foul line is where they will set the Polina. Additionally, if you go and you try to deliver the Polina 3 times as a team that won possession, and you can't, and the opposing team then has their one shot to set it, and they do, your team still throws the first bocce ball. Whoever wins possession by the coin toss or from the prior frame, even if they're not the ones who set the Polina, have first possession. I think everyone knows that, and we've been pretty good about it. It's just come up once or twice, and I wanted to make sure we clarify it. Deliveries. Again, I have to remind folks of this technical rule because a fake phantom rule has kind of popped up over the years. The person that delivers the Polina does not have to be the first person to deliver a bocce ball. That rule does not exist anywhere. People have been playing it that way for probably since Unified Sports started. And if your team likes to be that team that delivers the Polina and then that first person still delivers the bocce ball, do it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to remind you to let you know that that does not have to be the case, and it is not a rule. It's just something that has taken root over the past 10, 15, 20 years of Unified Sports. But again, the person that delivers the Polina does not have to be the person that delivers the first bocce ball. Yeah, Coach Newman's mind is blown by that, right? And then again, just a reminder that the ball has to be delivered below the waist and at least 1 foot or wheelchair wheel must be in the court. I know there's the occasional person that likes to kneel to deliver the bocce ball or Polina. That's fine, as long as it's still below the waist. Essentially, as long as you deliver it below the waist, you are fine. I think the only scenario where you can't deliver it below the waist without throwing it above the waist is laying down. I definitely do not recommend delivering a bocce ball or Polina laying down, is what it comes down to. Uniforms, the fun stuff. I think we have done across our Unified Sports, and by we, I mean you guys as coaches and your counterparts in your districts have done an outstanding job this year of being on top of uniforms. Everyone has done a really nice job. We just want to remind you again. Again, leggings can't be transparent above the knee unless they're covered by shorts. We don't recommend leggings in the first place. We want them in, easy fitting athletic wear. And the only thing that is illegal about the shorts below are the excessive designs on the side of the shorts. Again, all we request for the leg wear for your teams is that if you tell them as a coach, I want you guys wearing black shorts when you show up for that day, or pack black shorts to change into. I don't care if they're Walmart shorts. I don't care if they're Under Armour shorts. I don't care if their parents sewed them together a pair of black shorts. As long as they do not have crazy designs on them and they don't interfere with the legging rule up top, that's fine with me. We don't need everybody in the same exact pair of shorts. Some schools have school-issued uniforms from top to bottom. Some schools do not have that, and that's okay. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about lower body uniforming?
I'm actually going to pop in here because this was an issue last year. We are not allowing anyone to participate if they are wearing jeans. Khakis, that's a different story. Jeans will not be allowed out onto the courts. I will shut you down if I see it. The people staging will shut you down. Also, shoes. Athletes and partners need to be in athletic shoes, not Hey Dudes, not Crocs, not slides. They need to be in a pair of sneakers or some type of laced up athletic shoe.
Yeah, athletic shoes is honestly 100% a safety thing. Again, we had a couple pop-ups in indoor bocce about Hey Dudes, which I learned about what they are, and then saw some kids in Crocs. If your students want to wear Crocs because it's a long bus ride and then change into sneakers, that's fine. Again, with the weather being potentially wet next week, we want them in safe footwear to be out on the field. Otherwise, it's a safety hazard for them. Again, we just want them to protect themselves. We don't want any rolled ankles or anything at bocce, right? Uniforms. When it comes to the tops, we've specified that we prefer a shirt or a polo type of shirt. It needs to have the unified sports logo on it. It can either be on the chest, on the sleeve, on the back of the neck. Athletic shoes with a really quick. Actually, let me address this. This is a good question from Beth. Athletic shoes without laces are okay, right? I would say yes if they're like if you're talking like Velcro. If that's something that
Velcro?
you're talking about,
Yes.
yeah, that's fine. When we're talking about protective athletic shoes, perfect. Okay, that answers Beth's question. Paige with the question about do all teammates have to wear the same colored shorts? We want them as close as possible. We would love them to be the exact same colored shorts. So if you tell your athletes, I want you in our standard thing is black shorts, we're not going to go and check what shade of black they are. Just get black shorts of whatever shade they are. Again, we want them in the same color. They do not need to be the exact same shorts.
Basically, we want this to be just like a regular varsity state
Yeah.
tournament where the teams show up in the same exact uniform. That's all we're asking for. So if your school colors are maroon, white, and black, we do not want a collage of different short colors. We want them all in like black colors or white or maroon. So
Yep.
that's what we're looking for, uniformity.
Yes. Something that I also recommend that if you have concerns about students showing up in wrong colored shorts or whatever you tell them to wear, I recommend having a conversation with your athletic director, especially tomorrow or the next day before you leave for states the following week. See if you guys can swing 10 shorts of, each size, unisex shorts that are black shorts. So somebody shows up, I got black shorts for you. They're not the prettiest shorts, but they're the right thing for you to wear. We have a bowling program in Montgomery County for community program. The coach has a bin of khaki pants in every size for every gender and every person under the sun. That if somebody shows up in the wrong pants and they don't have khaki pants on, she's got a pair of khaki pants for you. You don't need to go to that extreme, but it's worth considering. Good questions on the uniformity, though. Shirts. Again, we're not wholly worried about what the shirt design is. It can be a cotton t-shirt. It can be an Under Armour t-shirt. It can be a polo shirt like I'm wearing. It can be a collared long sleeve shirt. Whatever your standard issue shirt is for your unified bocce program needs to have the unified sports logo on it and needs to have your school mascot, your school name, or whatever on it, whatever your standard issue shirt is, they need to wear. One note is that I've had a conversation with I know Baltimore City has sweatsuits that they have that were donated by Under Armour. I will say, if you have, especially for bocce or track and field in the springtime here when it gets hot, if you have a uniform that is like a long sleeve shirt or a sweatshirt or whatever it may be, if your students are going to wear those and it gets hot and they need to take them off, you need to then tell them they all need to wear one colored regular shirt underneath. We can't have them taking that off and being mismatched of all sorts of colors, and we don't know who anybody is at that point. So if you have long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, whatever your uniform is, if you have a thought that somebody's going to need to take that off during the day, you need to tell them that they have to wear a plain black, white, gray, whatever you designate that is, shirt to be on the court. If they don't have that and they're wearing a sweatshirt that has your school logo on it and the unified sports logo, and they don't have the right shirt on underneath it, they're going to have to keep that sweatshirt on at least for that match, and then they can take it off when they're off the court. But we need them wearing the right uniforms, not only so they look uniformed, but so our officials know who's who. Any questions, any issues with that? Good question, Coach Marissa. If you could just determine between your two coaches and wear one uniform, that would be great. We will still announce that team at awards as a combined Ruth Parker Easton and Glenn Burney team. We know you have a combined team, but if you can wear one uniform, that would be great. That will confuse the heck out of our officials if it's 2 uniforms. Perfect. Thank you so much. Before we depart to awards here, any questions on uniforms or any rules questions? No, beautiful. All right, we're going to keep going through. I know I'm a little bit over, so we're going to keep rocking and rolling. Awards. Again, everybody plays at least 2 games. Looking at the brackets, and as the brackets get updated, you'll get an idea of where you're placing based off of wins and losses and such. When you've kind of hit the end of the road for your bracket, if you've lost 2 games or you won 1 and lost 2, whatever it may be, as we have teams that we know what their placement is, we will make announcements for teams to report to the awards tent to be awarded. Additionally, when you show up to awards, please be wearing your uniforms, not only just for uniformity, but so you guys can get nice pictures to close out the season. I think everybody wants to see your student athletes in their uniforms, working together to close out the season at awards, just like they were doing on the court throughout the season. So we are making one change to Bocce Awards. Thank you to our IUS manager, Tyler Harrell. He's done a fantastic job setting up the awards structure. He's going to run our awards venue for us. We are modifying one thing about awards that should make the day tremendously quicker to close the day and a much better experience for you and your student athletes. We don't have the divisions done yet, so when we send out the email with the divisions, we will let you know. But we have 2 stages that we are doing in awards this year. Traditionally, we've had 1 stage at one end of the awards. This year, we will have 1 stage at one end and another stage at the opposite end. We will be assigning divisions to an award stand. So if you're in the example here, division 1, 2, or 3, and we tell you you're assigned to award stand 1, we'll have a sign that says award staging, and we'll have a number 1 there, and you can walk right up, and that's where you're going to get staged. Additionally, if for some reason we're doing awards and award stand 1 has like 3 teams waiting and award stand 2 is empty, we're going to move a team from award stand 1 to award stand 2. We will make an announcement that a team is being awarded on award stand 1 or 2, and then start the award ceremony. Again, we've had a little bit of a cluster towards the end of the event in past years. This is going to help us thin the cluster and get you guys moving and get you a better award experience at the end of the day. Here's a little rough sketch with my Microsoft Paint skills. I know I'm an artist, so please bear with me on my sketch here. To the right, you see a pink stand here. This is award stand 1. To the left, you see a blue stand. This is award stand 2. If you are assigned to award stand 1 and you are reporting to awards, out here, this white section, there will be a 10 by 20 pop-up tent. And we will have rows for your student athletes and you as a coach to stand in, signifying when you're next in the queue for awards. When you're next in the queue for awards, somebody, a volunteer likely, will escort you around the back of the tent, up onto the award stand. They will do your award stand ceremony. They will take a bunch of pictures, and then you guys will exit out the front of the awards tent, and you will go about your way. Same scenario goes for award stand 2 if you are being sent there as a team that's assigned there. If you're finished and you're award stand 2, you'll be put in the queue over here. You'll walk through the back. You'll be awarded. You'll walk out. 2 award stands, 1 going, and then the next going will keep our pace much more efficient than it has been in the past. At no point will award stand 1 and 2 be doing an award ceremony. They will be right after each other. Award stand 1 will do a ceremony. Award stand 2 will do a ceremony. Award stand 1 will do a ceremony, and we'll process the rest of the day like that. Any questions on our new procedures for awards at the end of the day? Sounds good? I want to thank you guys because this came from a recommendation from people doing the survey. We will have QR codes on your coach's packet for the event survey. We highly recommend that you guys fill that out at the end. Your students fill that out. If you have parents or an athletic director, please have them fill that out if they attended the event. Because when we have pain points, we learn and we get good ideas from you guys and your experience. So please do fill out the survey if you get a chance to. A reminder, I know Crofton High School takes us up on this about getting folks volunteering. If you have not done so and you have Day of Volunteers, students, additional teachers that would like to come out and volunteer, please reach out to Sam Boyd at her email there and let her know you have individuals that you would like to have volunteer and that are available to come with you on your bus or whatever it may be. We're looking actually really good for volunteers right now. George has done a fantastic job recruiting volunteer officials that have bocce backgrounds to be our head officials. Crofton High School always brings a bunch of individuals to help with day of tasks as well. And our volunteer director, Sam, does an awesome job as always, bringing in community volunteers like Delmarva Power to support your student athletes. Day of reminders. That's my cell phone number. Take down my cell phone number. If you guys, yes, we will never not say no to more volunteers. For Katie is absolutely right. If you guys are running late, if for some reason things get jammed up on the bridge, because that happens, oddly enough, who knows? The Bay Bridge has an issue, right? Take down my cell phone number. Text me if something's going wrong. Call me if something's going wrong. Let me know that something's falling behind on your travels. We will do our best to support you and accommodate you and take care of your student athletes. And I'll communicate to the rest of our team, hey, be on the lookout. X school is running behind. We're going to have to help them get in and get settled quickly. Please take down my cell phone number. You have my email. Reach out. The theme of this whole webinar is communicate. And I will say that again. Just communicate and we'll get you guys taken care of. That's it. Who's got questions? I know somebody's got at least one. Katie, do you have anything you'd like to add before we start closing it up?
No, except that I am very excited for Tuesday. I thank everyone for having done so well this season and for being on top of their paperwork. You guys have been amazing this year.
Yes, well done. Coach Chelsea, do you have a question? You can either unmute or type it in chat, whichever you prefer. If parents volunteer, will they be excused from their role while their child is playing? Typically not. When we have volunteers, when we assign them to stuff and need them to help with stuff, we usually have them committed pretty hard to things. There could be a chance that they get to see their student athlete or their child play. We can't guarantee it though. When we have people register as Day of Volunteers, we definitely need you guys to make sure that they know we need their support in making the event happen over potentially seeing their kid, play bocce. If they're more interested in seeing their kid play bocce, I'd probably stay as a spectator. Good question, though. Very good question. Other questions? Okay. George, is there anything as our head official that you would like to add before we close up? I'll take that as a no as well, unless George is muted and talking to himself.
Oh, double check. We done? Yes, we're done.
Yeah. We're done. I know you guys have had a long day. Quick thank you. Thank you for everything that you guys have done.
Sorry, no, I sent it too quickly. I was gonna ask, we don't need to bring any like balls or measuring tapes or anything like that.
We'll have measuring tapes and all that type of stuff. We will bring at least a dozen set of bocce balls. But you can bring your own as well. We typically take a look and make sure that your bocce balls are just the right circumference, the right weight, that kind of stuff. That's up to you. But we will definitely bring our own bocce balls and stuff.
So Zach, during I think it was at regionals at the Edge, there was a team there that had a colorblind student.
Yes.
But we were playing with the red and green balls. Does Special Olympics have a set of the white and blue balls?
That is a great question. We do not have a set of colorblind bocce balls. If you have a colorblind athlete, please do bring your colorblind bocce balls. And that's something to send me an email. We'll get an accommodation for that. Bring those bocce balls and we'll be good to go. Great question. Any more questions? right, I'm not going to keep you any longer. You guys have had a long day. I know you guys work tremendously hard on a day-by-day basis just to make school happen, let alone unified sports. So we can't thank you guys enough for everything that you've done year after year, season after season, even day after day, because we know how it goes in the school. So thank you. Be on the lookout in the next 2 days for an email about information about divisions and brackets and rosters and stuff like that. And then Monday, also be on the lookout for the email about the weather. You will get an email regardless if we're good to go Tuesday, no questions asked, or if we need to pivot. Thank you guys for everything. Have a fantastic night, and I will see you guys all on Tuesday.
Zach, hang tight for a second.
Will do. I'm going to stop the share, and I'm also
you.
going to stop our recording. Have a great night, everybody.
See you soon.